Prime Minister, the Right Honourable Tony Blair, MP, Ms Sharon Haughey, the Secretary of State, Dr Mo Mowlam, MP, the Right Honourable David Trimble, MP, First Minister, Seamus Mallon, MP, Deputy First Minister, the Mayor of Armagh, Robert Turner, and Ms Sharon Haughey.
President of the United States and the First Lady, we have the Armagh Girls Choir going to sing From a Distance.
Mr. President, First Lady and Prime Minister, you are very welcome to Armagh, the historic city of St. Patrick. Your presence this evening is much appreciated, especially at this important time in our history. We are delighted to have so many distinguished guests and local communities participating in this unique occasion. To have the two leaders of the democratic world share in this gathering for peace in the Christian capital of Ireland inspires hope for a better future, a future free of violence and terrorism, where human tragedy such as the Omagh atrocity will be no more. It is my prayer that with your support we can together build a peaceful and prosperous Northern Ireland with mutual respect for all traditions and beliefs. That would be a precious gift for the people of this beloved province, but most of all, it would be a living legacy for future generations, a legacy in keeping with the reconciling spirit of St. Patrick that lives on in this city and compels us to go forward together in friendship and trust. It is my pleasure, ladies and gentlemen, now to introduce Northern Ireland's First Minister, Right Honourable David Trimble, Member of Parliament for Upper Bank.
Mr. Mayor, Mr. President, First Lady, Prime Minister, Seamus, and distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure to be here this evening in Armagh, and particularly to be introduced by your Mayor, Robert Turner. I think, Mr. President, you should appreciate that here in Armagh, a council which has a unionist majority, but yet a council that works together harmoniously with a regular sharing of positions, demonstrated by the fact that we have at the moment in Armagh a SDLP deputy mayor, and that this has been the pattern here in this city, and one that gives a very good example to other parts of Northern Ireland. I know too that you've just come here from Omagh, and that there, like the rest of us, you've been moved by the suffering of the people who were bereaved there just a few weeks ago, and I think encouraged too by the spirit that so many there demonstrated and their determination to see that this society does not continue to go through the sort of turmoil that they have had. I think you've got from them to the impression that we all want to see the opportunities and the hopes that we have at the moment carried to fruition. You'll see that too from the tremendous audience here tonight, the tremendous range of people of all ages here enjoying themselves, showing their confidence in the future that we will construct together. This, I hope, will be your abiding memory of Northern Ireland from this trip, which I trust will not be the last, but from this trip you will carry away from this evening an impression of hope, of confidence, of optimism, that no matter what the difficulties may be, we have the capacity to overcome them and to create a Northern Ireland at ease with itself and its neighbours. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, it's now my pleasure to introduce to you someone who you will now know, my colleague, the Deputy First Minister Designate, Seamus Mallon. Seamus.
Mr. President, First Lady, Mr. Mayor, Deputy Mayor, Prime Minister, Secretary of State, and First Minister, it is indeed my pleasure to welcome you to the ancient city of Armagh, where St. Patrick reigned and which is still the ecclesiastical capital of Ireland. Indeed, it was a centre for culture and heritage that predated Christianity, predated the present type of divisions we have on this island, and predated the very cultures that are at the root of some of our problems. It is fitting that your final engagement should be held in this most ancient of cities. Your welcome matches the type of approach that I know and everyone expects that Armagh would give to someone who has contributed as much as you have. With the agreement, we enter into a new dawn, a new dispensation. We have a secure basis to develop, to deepen, to transform the relationships within Northern Ireland, within the island of Ireland, and within these islands. We have the encouragement and the practical support of the United States and the European Union. Your visit symbolises not just your own personal and much appreciated involvement, but the involvement of your great country. Like the First Minister, I want you to leave here in the belief of the potential of our people. You have seen, you have felt how they have responded to your visit and to the promise of peace. Our task will be to make Northern Ireland a land fit for our youth. So many of them are here tonight. A place where they will find opportunity, growth, security, a place that they will love. We can start anew. And taking inspiration from your country, Mr. President, build a young land, a land that favours change, imagination, vigour and growth. You have had a long day, Mr. President and First Lady. You have given to us an inspiration that none of us could fail to appreciate. You have given us even more. You have given us that wonderful gift of being able to look at the potential for peace and to make it into a realization. That is our common objective. We will fulfill that objective on your behalf, on our behalf, but most of all, on the behalf of all of the people in Northern Ireland who over the years have suffered so much. I wish you both safe journey. I also wish the Prime Minister a very warm welcome and safe journey also. This is his second visit to Armagh since he became Prime Minister. He is always welcome, as is the Secretary of State. It is now my great pleasure to introduce Sharon Haughey, a young woman from the Armagh area who wrote to the President of the White House in November 1995. Imagine her surprise and delight when she saw the President on television quoting her letter in his Belfast address during his previous visit to Northern Ireland. Tonight, she meets them. Tonight, she introduces him. Tonight, Sharon Haughey will do what very few people will ever do. She will meet and introduce the President of the United States. I give you Sharon.
Good evening. Tonight, both sides of the community have come together and are united in this gathering for peace. However, as we gather here, we also remember in our thoughts and our prayers those who have been most directly touched by the violence, especially those who are suffering as a result of the recent terrorist attack in Armagh. Throughout the past 30 years, Armagh has also experienced the grief and the terror of the Northern Ireland violence. In more recent times, though, Armagh has become a centre of reconciliation. And tonight, with great honour, Armagh plays host to President and Mrs. Clinton. Mr. Clinton brings with him a gift of hope, the greatest gift anyone can bring to the people of Northern Ireland, a country which for far too long dreams and hopes did not come through. At 14 years old, I wrote to President Clinton. I told him that I wanted to move away from the violence I had known. My plea that both sides have been hurt, both sides must forgive, was heard by the most powerful man in the world. That fact itself, that even the smallest voice can be heard, should give hope to all. And now, at 17 years old, I think it is time for peace. Peace is in the hearts of the people of Northern Ireland, and nothing can ever destroy that. I will leave here tonight with great hope, knowing that others throughout the world are concerned and share in our hopes of peace. Mr. President, I want to thank you for your continued support in our peace process. Our appreciation is difficult to express. But we admire the great work you have done. Your concern, thoughts, and words are with us always. And now, on behalf of the people of Northern Ireland, it is my great privilege to welcome the President of the United States of America, Bill Clinton.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for the wonderful welcome. I am very, very proud to be the first American president to visit Armagh. Thank you for making Hillary and me feel so welcome tonight. I thank Mayor Turner, my good friend, Prime Minister Blair, who will speak in a moment. I thank First Minister Trimble and First Deputy Minister Seamus Mallon for their remarks and their leadership, the role modeling they are doing by working together for a peace for all the people of Northern Ireland. I think we should give them both a big hand for that. I thank him. There are other members of the Assembly here tonight who represent surrounding areas. Paul Berry, Danny Kennedy, Pat McNamee, Connor Murphy, John Fee, we thank them for their service in Northern Ireland's new Assembly, the hope for its peaceful future. I also would like to say a special word of appreciation to the remarkable young woman who introduced me, Sharon Hoy. I'll never forget the letter she wrote me in 1995. A 14-year-old girl, in the midst of all this violence, said, "Both sides have been hurt, both sides will have to forgive." It was so simple, so profound, that I quoted it when I came here 3 years ago. Well, she's grown up to be quite an impressive young 17-year-old, and I was very honored to have her here tonight as the symbol of what Northern Ireland can become if you put away war and take up peace forever. Thank you, Sharon. I'd like to thank the wonderful choir who sang for us a few moments ago. I would like to thank the members of our delegation, the Secretaries of Education and Commerce, and 12 members of the United States Congress from both parties for coming here. You know, many United States presidents' ancestors actually came to America from Northern Ireland. Andrew Jackson's father was from Carrickfergus in County Antrim. Woodrow Wilson's grandfather left Donegal in County Tyrone. My ancestors were so humble, everyone knows they came from somewhere in Northern Ireland, and no one is quite sure where. Most believe the 18th century Cassidys, my mother's people, were from County Fermanagh. Most believe that those people were my forebears. And I have a painted watercolor of an 18th century farmhouse on our wall at the White House to prove it. The truth is, I can't be sure, so I'll save all the genealogists a lot of trouble by saying, wherever I am tonight, it is good to be home in Northern Ireland. I am especially proud to be here with my wife at this important time. Yesterday, she spoke to the Vital Voices Conference, hundreds of women from Northern Ireland working across all the lines that divide you for a better future. Tonight, we are proud to be in a place that is a spiritual home to Irish people of both religious traditions and to millions of Irish Americans as well. Armagh is a city on a hill in every sense. Your faith and tolerance are making a new era of peace possible. For yourselves and all the world, in every act of genuine reconciliation, you renew confidence that decency can triumph over hatred. You have inspired the rest of us to aim a little higher. I thank you, and America thanks you, for the precious gift you give us all, a gift of hope redeemed and faith restored. Indeed, I am tempted in this city of saints and cathedrals to call the peace of 1998 a miracle. After all, it was delivered through the agency of that good American angel, Senator George Mitchell, who is here. It was delivered on Good Friday. Nonetheless, I think you would all agree that at least in the normal sense in which we use the word, the peace of Good Friday was not a miracle. You did it yourselves. It rose from the public's passionate demand to take a different course. It came about from the hard work of leaders like those who are on this stage, from David Trimble and Seamus Mallon, from the leaders of the other parties, from Tony Blair and the Irish Prime Minister as well. It came from honest debate, and again it came loud and clear from an overwhelming vote of the people for peace. It is you who have told your leaders that you long for peace as never before. You gave them the confidence to move forward, to give up the past and speak the language of the future. Armagh has stood for these better aspirations throughout its long history. If there is a recurring theme to this seat of learning and religion, it is the largeness of the human spirit. Here, a Briton, St. Patrick, devoted himself to the cause of Ireland and left a legacy of faith and compassion. Here, the Book of Armagh preserved his gentle message and the power of the Gospels. Today, the two cathedrals that dominate the landscape stand for the idea that communion is better than destructive competition. Two proud traditions can exist side by side, bringing people closer to God and closer to each other. I salute the leadership of Dr. Sean Brady and Dr. Robin Ames, the archbishops of the Catholic and the Church of Ireland diocese, respectively. For years they have walked together when it counted. I salute the Presbyterians and the Methodists who have worked hard for peace, indeed the men and women of all denominations. Here there have been difficulties, as elsewhere, but the historic streets of this old town remind us of a fundamental fact about your community. Armagh literally encircles its many traditions in a single community. That is what Northern Ireland must do if you want the future of peace and prosperity that belongs to the children in this crowd tonight. As you look ahead, to be sure in this peace process, there will be false steps and disappointments. The question is not if the peace will be challenged. You know it will. The question is, how will you respond when it is challenged? You don't have to look too far. The bomb that tore at the heart of Omagh was a blatant attack on all of Northern Ireland's people who support peace. The Prime Minister and Mrs. Blair and Hillary and I just came from Omagh. We met with the families whose innocents were slaughtered. We met with those who were terribly wounded. We saw children scarred, some of them for life, because of the madness that if someone could just set off a big enough bomb and kill enough Protestants and Catholics, kill enough men, women, and children, including 2 pregnant women, kill enough people from Northern Ireland, Ireland, and foreign countries, that maybe everybody would walk away from peace. But it backfired. Out of the unimaginably horrible agony of Omagh, the people said, it is high time somebody told these people that we are through with hate, through with war, through with destruction. It will not work anymore. Think of what it will be like when everyone forever can simply walk freely through Armagh with no anxiety about what street you walk down or with whom you talk. Think how beautiful this city can be without any barbed wire and never a thought of a burned church. Peace brings peace of mind and prosperity and new friends eager to see this historic and compelling land for the first time. People once were afraid to come to Armagh in Northern Ireland. Now they will be hard-pressed to stay away. We wanted to come here in person to thank you for the peace, to thank you for strengthening the hand of everyone anywhere who is working to make the world a little better. When I go now to other troubled places, I point to you as proof that peace is not an idle daydream, for your peace is real, and it resonates around the world. It echoes in the ears of people hungry for the end of strife in their own country. Now when I meet Palestinians and Israelis, I can say, don't tell me it's impossible. Look at Northern Ireland. When I meet Albanians and Serbs and Kosovo, I can say, don't tell me it's impossible. Look at Northern Ireland. When I hear what the Indians and Pakistanis say about each other over their religious differences, I say, don't tell me you can't work this out. look at Northern Ireland. Centuries were put to bed and a new day has dawned. Thank you for that gift to the world. And never underestimate the impact you can have on the world. The great English poet and clergyman John Donne wrote those famous lines, "No man is an island. We are all a piece of the continent, a part of the main." Tonight we might even say in this interconnected world, not even an island, not even a very unique island, not even Ireland, is fully an island. On this island, Northern Ireland obviously is connected in ways to the Republic, as well as to England, Scotland, and Wales. And in ways, the Republic of Ireland is connected to them also. All of you on this island increasingly are connected to Europe and to the rest of the world as ideas and information and people fly across the globe at record speeds. We are tied ever closer together, and we have obligations now that we cannot shirk to stand for the cause of human dignity everywhere. To continue John Donne's beautiful metaphor, when the bells of Armagh toll, they ring out not just to the Irish of Protestant and Catholic traditions, they ring out to people everywhere in the world who long for peace and freedom and dignity. That is your gift. We Americans will do what we can to support the peace, to support economic projects, to support education projects. Tomorrow, the Secretary of Education will announce a cooperative effort here to help children bring peace by doing cross-community civic projects. We know we have an obligation to you because your ancestors were such a source of strength in America's early history, because their descendants are building America's future today. Because of all that, we have not forgotten our debt to Ulster. But we really owe an obligation to you because none of us are islands. We are all now a part of the main. 3 years ago, I pledged that if you chose peace, America would walk with you. You made the choice, and America will honor its pledge. Thank you for the springtime of hope you have given the world. Thank you for reminding us of one of life's most important lessons, that it is never too late for a new beginning. And remember, you will be tested again and again, but a God of grace has given you a new beginning. Now you must make the most of it, mindful of President Kennedy's adage that here on earth, God's work must truly be our own. Your work is the world's work, and everywhere in every corner, there are people who long to believe in our better selves, who want to be able to say for the rest of their lives, in the face of any act of madness born of hatred over religious or racial or ethnic or tribal differences, they want to be able to shake their fist in defiance and say, "Do not tell me it has to be this way. Look at Northern Ireland." Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you. My Lord Mayor. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks very much. My Lord Mayor, it's my privilege to give a vote of thanks tonight to the President and to the First Lady. And I would like to repeat to you here in Armagh what I said this morning, that this President of the United States has done more for peace in Northern Ireland than any other president in American history. Thank you. You've brought joy and hope and inspiration to people here this evening and throughout the whole of Northern Ireland. And I would like to thank someone else, someone who stood shoulder to shoulder with me ever since we assumed the responsibilities of power. Mo Mowlam, Secretary of State for Northern Ireland. And we have all worked, in this great historic decision that we are making here in Northern Ireland. The decision between the past and the future. Three things simply I say to you. First, David Trimble, Seamus Mallon, First Minister, Deputy First Minister, from different communities across the divide, working together. That's the future for Northern Ireland. Second, painstaking, difficult, agonizing though it was to get that agreement negotiated. Hard though those days were, tough though those negotiations were day after day after day. Nonetheless, we got that agreement. You voted for that agreement. You said that was your will. Our job now, all of us, is to implement that agreement for Northern Ireland. That's the future for Northern Ireland. And third, and most important of all, the people who are gathered here tonight have in their hearts one simple, fervent wish: that the days of the men of violence and terror and bombings and killings are over, that the days of peace are beginning here in Northern Ireland, and that is the future. And who better to express it than those people in Armagh that the President, the First Lady, myself, Cherie, met just a short time ago. Even amidst their most deep and profound grief, even as they mourned, they said, all of them to us, "Don't let this be in vain. Don't let nothing good come out of this unspeakable evil." They said, stick at it, keep at it, make it work, see it through. Let those people who died in Armagh in that unbearable tragedy, let their memorial be a peaceful, just, secure, decent future for the whole of Northern Ireland. That is the wish in your hearts. And tonight, here in Armagh, as we see this magnificent gathering of people, a gathering here for peace, let this day be a day when Armagh spoke for the whole of Northern Ireland and said, the future will be our future, a future of peace and harmony and mutual respect. It is there for us. We can do it. We are going to do it. And Mr. President, you will stand with us, shoulder to shoulder, with the new Assembly, with the government of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, with the Irish Republic, and with the whole of the democratic world in saying the future is peace.